Hi, welcome to the short training session regarding the escort class in the Moose framework. The escort class is a class that I've developed to support other planes, helicopters, ships and ground units to escort your unit in a multiplayer environment. The normal escort functionality within DCS World will only work in single player, and the escort functionality in DCS World I thought was rather limited. Also, I think the helicopters or the units that are following you are doing this in a very peculiar way. They're flying in formation, and I think in a real escort mission that won't really be the case. So find this escort mission that I'm just showing you here within Moose. You can find it on the web in GitHub. You can download the Moose framework, install Moose, and then the escort class will come available to you. So let me show you a couple of things on how the escort class works and what are the nice features in this and ideas. So the escort class allows you to navigate your escort around. The escort will report targets that it identifies, which you can switch on or switch off, or ask a report immediately. You can ask the escort specifically for helicopters to scan targets at the area where it is at, so it will pop up and fly around for a certain amount of time. You can ask the escort to attack any target that it has identified, which it will list during reporting. And you can ask the escort to request other escorts within your flight to attack certain targets that the escort has identified, like a ground unit or a ship. You can set the rules of engagements or the evasion techniques of the escort. And you can ask the escort as well to do some flaring or some smoking to show its position. And you can ask the escort to execute a certain mission that it is flying. So beside following and navigation, you can ask the escort to fly around independently and execute a certain mission that you've defined within the mission editor. So here we are in the office, a Ka-50 from Russia. And we are going to show you now the navigation functionalities of the escort. We're escorted by an Mi-28N, which is flying around looking for targets of opportunity. We have an Su-33 flying around the plane, and we got a couple of ships here and a ground unit which is available to us as well. The first thing that I'm going to show you is let's control this Mi-28N, which has a nickname Escort Alpha in the menu. So I'm doing F3 here. I'm selecting the navigation menu, and I'm going to ask him to follow me at around 100 meters. So let me show you the behavior of this helicopter, which is now flying around near me. So as you can see, speeding up a bit, the simulation, it is flying towards me. Here I am, a Ka-50, and it's following me. And very important to know, this following functionality is working within a multiplayer environment. So if you got a mission that you're hosting, and the escorts will then follow client play units which are remotely flying around, so which is different from the functionality of DCS World. By default, escorting will only work in single player mode, remember. Now, one of the nice features is my helicopter is flying around. I'm controlling it, so I can now start turning. Yeah, I'm not the best pilot, by the way, but here you go, and let's see what it does. There you go. It's nicely following. Let me stop a bit into a hover, and I'll show you. This is very interesting. So the helicopter is not really flying into formation, it's rather following at a certain distance, regardless of the direction vector that you are following. So if I'm turning around a bit and I'm going to get into a hover, and I'm still flying too fast, let me give a bit of time to get into a nice, yeah, here he is. So now the helicopter is positioning itself, and the Mi-28N is now going to position itself within a certain distance, 100 meters, and yeah, and stabilize. Let me position myself the climb rate to slow that a bit. There you go. So now let me speed it up. Oh, damn it. Let me get the helicopter stable. Okay, that should work. So now the helicopter is nicely positioning itself near me. So this is a nice escorting function. I can ask the escort when in hover to actually navigate to a larger distance. So I'm going to ask it to position itself around 200 meters right now, which is nicely doing. Yeah. Okay, so now while we're hovering, you see those targets a bit further in blue. Yeah, so I'm going to ask the escort to actually report those targets that it has identified. The target detection is following the DCS detection functionality, so any target that the escort will identify has to be done through its means, meaning it can detect targets through its infrared scanning capability, visual scanning capability, radar detection, scanning capability, etc. And depending on the kind of unit or the kind of type of unit that is escorting, these detection means will vary and differ. The Mi-28N currently is detecting 6 targets, which are unknown, but it has one visual on one target, while the other ones are still unknown, but it can identify the distance already. So I'm going to ask him to actually to attack those targets, and I'm going to ask him to attack target number 1. And let's observe the behavior of the escort while doing this. There you go. And now it's off. I'm going to speed up the simulation a bit, because, well, it's fairly straightforward. Know that attacking targets are actually what he's really doing is he's attacking a unit, yeah, so not a group. So you really have to define those units one by one that needs to be attacked and the order of it. Very interesting to see right now is that while it has come closer, it has identified the type of the unit and the distance, and it has a visual on most of them. When the attack is being finished, the behavior of the escort will be for helicopters and air units that they will fly around into orbit. So you really need to say, after the attack has been finished to really either get back into formation or to attack another target. Right now I'm going to ask him to go back into formation. So where am I? There. So it's flying nicely back to me. Yeah, and let me ask him to attack another one. The striker, number 2. Okay, it's off. Now, of course, the behavior of, let's say, the rules of engagement of the escort are automatically set. So when I'm selecting attacking a target, the rules of engagements are set to attack any designated target that it has, and the evasive maneuvers are set to vertical evasion, meaning that if it's being attacked by a missile, it will go down under the radar and attack that target and flee away. Yeah. So right now that target has been killed as well. I'll ask him to do another one, the last one. Yeah. Now, during the attack, you can actually ask him to, while just attacking, to actually change the rules of engagement here. So remember, these are set to a certain mode. First, let me get this thing attacking. Yeah, it's attacking. So now I want to say to the escort, while attacking, do the rules of engagement or the evasion technique, use only flares and jammers. So it will report the change of the rules of engagements nicely. Yeah. It will attack the target until it's being really killed. Yeah. And it will fly around, so no hit yet. It's trying again. Yeah, I think this is going to be the right one. Okay. So that was it for attacking. Now let's get to the other functionalities. Alright, so right now I'm going to show you how to attack targets using target assistance from other units within the escort function. So I'm actually, in this flight, I'm flying a Hawk, and I'm escorted by a test plane, a ground unit, and a ship. Let me show you the situational awareness of this. So the 101cc is flying towards the target, the Hawk is flying behind, the ground unit is here, and there's a ship around the Normandy which is there. So the target is currently flying towards the target. It is identified the target, and right now I'm going to ask the escort test plane to attack targets using the ship. Here you go. Please attack. So you see that the Conderoc, yeah, the Normandy, is going to assist the target. Let me show you how this works. So it will probably shoot off a Tomahawk missile. Let me speed it up a bit. Here you go. So here you go. The missile is firing towards the target from the ship. notice that this is really useful because the ships have a really large range. They can really fly into hundreds of kilometers within the countryside, and that's a hit. Isn't that great? So here we are, back in a Hawk. Now I'm going to show you what happens when attacking a ground unit using the assistance of another ground unit, where the escort has identified the target. So Hawk is flying behind, the 101 is flying towards the target, and it will detect it quite soon. And we got the MLRS here waiting to receive orders near the railroad. So let's speed up a bit to get the target being detected by the escort. Show you this here. Yep. Let me see what happens. Still no target detected. Probably it has, but not reported yet. Yeah, it has detected it. There you go. So now I'm going to ask him to attack this target with assistance from the ground unit. Right, so let's have a look what happens with this ground unit. What's he doing? There you go. So it's really targeting, and there you go. So let's have a look what this missile is doing towards the target. Probably not much because it had just fired one. Nothing. Here you go. Yeah, so it really depends. Probably an artillery will be much more efficient than a rocket launcher. So the next things I want to show you are some remaining functions related to escort. First thing I want to show you is the flaring and smoking of units. So within navigation I can ask a ground unit to smoke, for example, a red smoke, right? So when I'm getting in there down, I will know, oh, this is my unit because I just asked it to release a red smoke. Here he is. Good. The next thing I can do with planes is I can ask planes as well to navigate and follow me. So you see these 4 planes here as a group. The reason why I'm asking 4 planes is because, well, it gives a bit of more dynamism into escorting. So I've got 4 planes who are going to follow me right now. They're turning already. The leader of the group will actually be the plane that is following me, and the rest of the group will follow their leader. Like these planes, they're actually air forward controllers, so I can ask these planes now to attack their target that they've just identified with smoke rockets. So I can ask them to engage their detected target, which they're going to do right now. And let's have a look where they are. So now you can see the target being surrounded with smoke resulting from smoke rockets being fired onto the target. So you can see that escorts don't have to be only attacking groups or units, they can also be bombing units, AFACs, you name it. Yeah. The last function that needs to be shown is the resumation of the escort mission. So there's a menu option within escorts to actually allow escort groups to resume their mission starting from a waypoint that you specify on the route. When you click resume mission, the waypoints on the route will be listed as menu items, and the distance from the position of the escort to the waypoint will be shown. So you can choose from which waypoint the shortest distance is, or from which waypoint the ideal continuation point would be, depending on the mission context. So here you can see that I'm asking the 101cc to resume their mission starting from waypoint 2, which they are doing. This is a very useful function because you can actually ask the escorts to take the lead on your flight, whether you can follow them. Now let me quickly explain you how you code using the escort function, all this functionality. For the moment it's quite simple. I have just built in all of the functionality as in this one instance construction. So the first thing you need to do is you need to have an escort client defined. So you use the client class and the constructor new to define the client class. And there's a very important function here which is called alive that you can use here to detect when that client becomes alive. I want to call this function defined here, which is here described. A local function that you can write down, which is going to create those escorts that you want the client to be following or being escorting. The escorts are spawn groups, so each escort gets a spawn object that you can then use within the event alive helicopter function to actually spawn those escorts. I'm using the respawn function here, but you can use also spawn function. It really doesn't matter. It's upon your creativity what you do here. But basically the result of the spawning is that you get a group, in this case escort group heli1, that you can then use to actually construct the escort. And the escort, all the functionality that I've just explained is actually embedded within this one construction method of escort class new, which takes the client, which is by the way given as a parameter. So when the client becomes alive and that function is called, then that function needs to have as a parameter the client object, which is then given. So you use that client object here as the first parameter, and then you use the group that you want the client to be escorting, and you can give the escort a name as you want. Probably this class escort will be extended, and I'm planning to actually build more flexibility within the escort class. For example, where you can choose whether you want to have the functionality available to scan targets, yes or no, whether you want to be having smoking or flaring being available, whether you want to have the assistance of targets being available. For the moment everything is on by default, but you can expect in the near future further methods becoming available to actually add that flexibility and probably even more functionality. So I hope that if you can wrap up this session, I hope really that you found this useful, that you found new ideas or new ways how to create missions, and I really hope that the escort class becomes a valuable element within your mission design. Please leave any feedback onto the forum. I'm going to write a post on the forum regarding the escort class that you can then use. Yeah, okay, that wasn't so. You can find this test mission that I've been demonstrating, including the coding, in the test missions directory here, and the mission is called moves test escort. So here you can find the Lua file, which contains the contents of the mission as well as the mission itself. So last but not least, you can find the explanation and the references of Moose also on the forum. There's a platform where you can discuss the functionalities and the comments or topics regarding this framework, and it can be found at forums, English, sim topics, mission and campaigns, mission builders corner, and the actual post or thread is here. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I am welcoming you next time for a sequence session regarding this framework and its functionality. Bye bye.